I was born under chains. Not metaphorically. I mean, I took my first breath beneath a sunless sky, on a world so cold and broken that even the wind howled in bondage. The chains clinked when I moved. They were fused to my bone, runes branded into my skin before I had words. I was bred to obey. And for 2 decades I did. Until he came. He wasn't like the others. Not scaled, not horned, not from the lineages of war that ruled the slave pits of Kael'Zoreth. No. He was soft-skinned, messy-haired, and smelled like metal and forest. A human. I had never seen one in the flesh. The guards called them strange, slow-burning devils. They said humans didn't conquer with brute force but with ideas. I didn't understand what that meant. Not until he spoke to me. Not until he handed me the paper. I remember the weight of it in my hand. Thin parchment. At first I thought it was a trick, another torment. A forged freedom order to mock the low-born, color-branded slaves. But it wasn't forged. It was signed. In human law. In Zordi law. Even the Empire's interstellar protocols had stamped approval. He had bought my freedom. And for a moment I didn't know what to feel. Then I snarled. Why? I asked, baring my fangs. He just smiled. Not with cruelty. Not even with pity. Just, like he knew a secret I didn't. You looked like someone who'd burn it anyway. First I didn't. I couldn't. For 7 nights I kept it folded beneath the stone I slept on. I touched it like it might vanish. My blood still told me to kneel when guards passed. My muscles tensed at every voice barked in command. Freedom was heavier than the chains. But on the 8th night they came to return me to the auction. The warden hadn't approved the human's purchase. Claimed he used off-world credits. Legal. No. He called me property. And I snapped. I don't remember how many I killed. Only that the flames danced with me. That the collars on my kin broke as I passed. That my tail lashed like a whip against the slavers' skulls. And in the center of it all I held the parchment. I set it ablaze with my bare hand. Not out of rejection. But because no one would ever write that word over me again. Slave. I burned it for the others to see. And when the smoke cleared he was standing there. Still smiling. You're free now, he said. I was never yours, I answered. He nodded. Not offended. Not surprised. I didn't buy you to own you, he said. I bought you so they couldn't. We traveled together after that. Not as master and servant, not even as friends at first. Just 2 fugitives with a shared enemy. He said his name was Corin. Said he was a scout once. Left Earth decades ago. Never liked how humans were becoming like the very empires they swore to resist. He said he freed slaves as a hobby. I told him he was a fool. He said I was probably right. Over time I grew to like his foolishness. He didn't flinch when I showed my claws. Didn't cower at the way my eyes glowed in the dark. When I lost control of my fury and tore a mercenary in half during a skirmish, he didn't lecture me. He handed me a rag, wiped blood from my cheek and said, "You missed a spot." He taught me how to fly a ship. I taught him how to move in silence like a predator. He showed me stars beyond the slave worlds, planets where no one wore collars. I showed him what a Zorati war chant sounded like from the heart. We stopped calling each other passenger and crew. Then we stopped sleeping in separate quarters. But I never said the words. Neither did he. Some things are too fragile for breath. Then one day, on a moon dusted in violet crystals and shattered stone, we found her. A young girl. Half feline like me. Branded. Shackled. Eyes dull. And he, Corin, he froze. Not like fear. Like recognition. He pulled me aside that night. Said something about a mission. Said he couldn't stay. That the girl reminded him of something, of someone. Someone he lost. I asked him what he was talking about. He didn't answer. He kissed my forehead, not my lips. And then he left. I should have chased him. But I was raised under chains, remember? Even when they're gone you can still feel the pull. And for the first time since I burned the parchment I felt it again. The weight. The ache. The silence. It was weeks before I found him again. On a relay transmission, hacked through 3 black market satellites. He was bleeding. Cornered. Some Imperial bounty for interfering with galactic law. He was trying to evacuate a slave planet. With no backup. No army. Just one human. So I gathered what I could. Mercenaries who owed me favors. Ex-gladiators. 3 smugglers. 1 former warden turned traitor. We came down on that planet like gods. And I saw him again. Broken, burned, smiling through cracked lips. You came. I never left, I said. And then, I burned his slave order. Yes. He had won. He had once been sold to the same empire that enslaved me. But unlike me, he never wore his collar. He just kept breaking others. He carry his dog tags now. He didn't make it out of that last mission. But his smile did. It lives in the fire I carry. In the freedom I light. I'm not a slave. I'm not a warrior. I'm the torch. The flame that burns the word slave from every page, every skin, every law. And if you're reading this, you're next. Because someone once bought my chains just to watch me break them.